What? I blocked, come on. No, guys, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. We lost our skill damage boost. We really want to block those. Oh shit. No! I missed with 11%! I fucking suck it! Sensei, tell me, how much do you have? 12! Oh, I have 11! Oh my goodness. Yes, I got over 11% contribution, but I was not even rank 1. That was the first time I was not rank 1 since I played this class. But the guy who got first place is also playing my build. So I'm okay with that. And the funny thing is that I was not even playing this fight perfectly. I was running multiple times because I forgot to press my mana exchange. I didn't block a couple of fury attacks, and I even had sometimes not all my orbs out. You can watch the full boss fight at the end of the video. But now in this video I want to give you a few more tips on how to play this class and things that I just recently learned. So you might be wondering, why do I have 2 empty skill slots? How can you handle downtimes of Selfless Diffusion? Or how do you change the setup for AOE farming? And more. Let's go. Okay, so the first question probably everyone is asking, why do you have 2 empty skill slots? And the answer is easy. We don't need it anymore. Look at this. We're placing our 3 orbs, right? We're buffing ourselves, and now we just spam our abilities. You see that? We don't even have a deadly marker. No deadly marker. We just spamming our shit. So how do we do that? In my last videos I already explained that the whole synergy is coming from Selfless Diffusion. Because of this ability, we're reducing all our cooldowns like crazy. On top of that, what is so good is this passive, Magical Harmony. Now you might say, oh, but you have an heroic orb. I can't get this right now on the fresh start servers. Not a big deal. You can just buy this orb with this passive in it. And for this, you just go to any contract coin merchant, which you find in every city. You click on them, and then you find these precious epic 2 weapon selection chests. If you click here and scroll down, you can see Shadow Sphere. And this is the exact weapon with this effect. Now you might say, oh, but this is only a tier 2 weapon. We are now at tier 3. We should play with an epic 3 weapon. This is not how the game works. You lose minimal base damage, but the effect is way better. You 100% want to play with this orb. And the only thing you need are 3,000 contract coins. So you just do all of your daily and weekly contracts, and then you have that in no time. Okay, but now you might still ask, why do you have 2 empty skill slots? Just put any abilities in. And here the problem is that you're getting baited to not use these 2 abilities. These 2 abilities deal crazy amount of damage. Anything else in your kit deals no damage compared to that. It's just way better to have a little bit of downtime here and there, but you always prioritize these on top. I was not only doing that on a world boss where we had 2 deadly markers. I was also playing like this where we had just 1 deadly marker. Of course, if you can control yourself and you really just to spam these 2 abilities and really just in really bad times you use the 3rd or the 4th ability here in this kit, then go ahead. I know myself, I'm using that too often. That's why I'm not putting anything in, because these 2 abilities just deal 10 times the damage of everything else. Now, of course, I'm on a legacy server. I have decent gear. Now, not everything for me is traded. I have here completely trash stats on my cloak. My heroic orb has no good traits for PvE. I don't even have attack speed on this weapon. There is still so much room to go. But still, if you're just starting out on the fresh start servers, this is of course different for you. Here I would highly suggest you that you keep playing with Void Slash, because it's just one more ability that you can use that also deals good damage, and it just helps you to keep your orbs always up, because you also reset with this ability the orbs always. But usually you don't need it anymore because Milky Way is doing that also, and since you can spam those 2 non-stop, you can reset them all the time. Of course, this build will feel a little bit clunky at the beginning. You don't have so much cooldown speed, buff duration, or attack speed. As soon as you get those stats, everything will come together, which of course at the beginning will take a little bit of time. So to sum that part up here, less is more. You don't need too much. You want to prioritize Stellar Dash and Milky Way as much as possible. And This is the most important thing. Just spam those 2 abilities. And as soon as you have 1 or 2 deadly markers in your party, you will be able to do that 100%. The next thing that I want to talk about is one thing I noticed, and this is that if you have a decent party, right? If you go for 1 or 2 deadly markers in your party and they know what they're doing, then really the biggest bottleneck of this build is attack speed. And that's why it's just so important to prioritize attack speed. And this is also why this crossbow, the Lucian crossbow, is by far the best crossbow. It's better than Bella crossbow. I've seen even some people asking in my chat for Malaka crossbow. You won't go for all of that. This is by far the best crossbow. Not just because of the 16.5 attack speed, which is ridiculous, but we're also getting buff duration, cooldown speed, and 21 base stats. This weapon is just by far the best weapon. It does not matter if you have an upgraded Bella crossbow. Throw it out of the window, get this Lucian crossbow. It just drops from Fate's Abyss. You can farm this dungeon or you can buy it with adventure coins. This crossbow is really not hard to get. It's not a big deal. And that's what I wanted to give you in this part. Prioritize attack speed. Because as soon as you have decent gear, this will be your bottleneck. Okay, now you might be asking, how do you handle Selfless Diffusion downtimes? And this is super easy to answer. You have to build a solid roster. You just simply need a player in your party, at least one, that plays with a deadly marker. The game is designed around that. That's why, for example, dummy times are just stupid. We theory craft a build around a deadly marker. And this build just really shines if you have a deadly marker in your party. So if you create a World Boss group, create your own party and try to get some bow players in. Simple as that. And what will then happen is that you have maybe a 2-3 seconds downtime on your Selfless Diffusion. And if you just have a 3 second cooldown on Selfless Diffusion, then it's kind of whatever. Maybe you have to place your bolts one more time, but this is not a big deal. Of course, you need to pay attention of your Selfless Diffusion. You have to see if all your orbs are still up and stuff like this you need to do. It's just not brain AFK spamming and just ignoring everything else. That's simply not how this build works. You need to pay a little bit of attention to all of the different things. And yes, of course, buff duration and cooldown speed, as mentioned in my other guides, is super important. But the lesson that we learn here, we always play with a deadly marker in our party, and we tell this guy to spam this fucking ability. Because this is literally the only reason why he's even allowed to play a bow. Sounds stupid, but it's actually the truth. Then a question that I've gotten a lot in my stream is, how often do we have to use Detonation Mark? Now usually if we play now our Selfless Diffusion on the target and we use our abilities, right, then our cooldown is not going down, right? Our Detonation Mark will just be on the target. Now the important thing is, that only works as long as Selfless is up. As soon as Selfless is down, you will see the time is going down again. But important here, Detonation Mark can stack 2 times. You will always use it once. Now you see we have 1 stack. Then you reduce your cooldown with Selfless Diffusion and then you use it immediately 1 more time. And then you don't have to use it anymore till your Selfless runs out. But it's really not a big deal if you just spam Detonation Mark all the time. It's absolutely not a problem. It's better using it too many times than not often enough. Even in my World Boss fight where I had these 11%, I had sometimes not 2 stacks on the target. And that's huge, guys. It's huge. It's like 40% more accumulated damage. This is such a huge damage boost. You really always want to have 2 Detonation Marks on the target. Super, super important. I'm doing the mistake myself way too many times. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about the mana costs. So, if you played the class and you spammed your abilities, you know that the class is really, really mana hungry. But I think that mana regen, for example, is not good on this class. I think it's way better to build more mana cost efficiency and then rely more on mana exchange. The problem is our mana costs will be that insane that having a little bit of mana rake won't change anything. Getting a little bit of mana rake here and there will not help us to sustain the huge mana burn that we have in each boss fight. There is just no way. That's why, for example, I will go for complete max health on my resonance traits. I think it's just way better. So that means we go heavy into mana cost efficiency and we have to spam mana exchange. But since we with this build in the late game just have to spam 2 abilities right now, it's fine to have a 3rd ability that we actually have to spam. If you see my videos, I'm also running all the time, but simply because I forget to press this ability. As soon as I'm getting more and more used to the build and I'm spamming this ability more, you won't have mana problems. I think it's just a thing that we need to get used to. And I'm pretty sure that mana regen won't help you here to sustain any of your mana costs. Now, another thing that I want to mention here is that all those 3 buffs, so your Amplification Veil, your Summon Satellite, and your Selfless Diffusion, have a 6-second duration. Of course, they are all impacted by buff duration, but the important thing is that you will reduce the cooldown of these 2 abilities all the time crazy much with Selfless. And a lot of people getting baited then to use those abilities way too often, because they think, oh, it's on cooldown and I have to use them. So what you can do is you can take this duration of Selfless always as an idea when you have to reuse those 2 abilities. So for example, right, if you buff yourself, you place your orbs. Now if you shoot, you see these are already up, but they are still running. There is no need to press those buttons. You want to focus on this one. And as soon as Selfless is down, now you know you need to rebuff that. This is of course only if you want to min-max your damage, but if you want to do that, then this is of course really important. Then also a lot of people were asking me, what are you using for AOE farming? And the thing is, this build is already crazy good at AOE farming because Stellar Dash and Milky Way deal a lot of AOE damage. You see that here in some clips out of our dimensional trial runs yesterday. We are just bombing them away just with Stellar Dash and Milky Way. Because this ability is just simply also an AOE ability that makes it even more broken. You just spam your abilities and everything dies in an instant. Now, of course, if you go out into Abyss dungeons, what I would suggest you, of course, you will take here Void Slash, which is of course like just a really good AOE ability. And then here it actually makes sense to take Supernova. I know a lot of you love this ability, I love it too, but it deals 0 damage. It's just good to pull people into the middle. And that's what it's doing really good. So what you see me here always doing is I just place my 3 orbs, then I use Supernova, I pull everything into the middle, and then I just place my orbs again, and I just use my Stellar Dash and just bump them away. Like the damage is so ridiculously broken. The cool thing is that you almost have to change nothing for AOE farming. And you're getting really used to your dungeon setup because a lot of your damage comes from you know what you are pressing. If you have to think about, oh, what do I have to do? Are my orbs up? And so on, right? You lose damage. This is where all your damage comes from. If you don't have to think about what you have to do next. And you can only do that if you practice your class. That's why it's really good if you use your dungeon setup, also in open world farming. Maybe you could optimize here and there a little bit, but there's really no need right now. Okay, so usually I wanted to test more orb builds, but this class is just so much fun and I can't stop playing it. For sure they have to nerf it, but I just hope that they don't take away the synergy. Because those kind of synergies is what the game makes fun. If you just put some abilities of one weapon and some abilities of the other weapon onto your skill bar, yeah, that's kind of boring. This game just becomes so nice if you have those synergies between 2 weapons. Of course, in the current state, it's just way too broken. We don't have to talk about that. But you get my point, they really have to be careful with nerfing this class. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. If you like hear me yapping around, then don't forget to subscribe and like. Thanks for watching, guys, and see ya in the next one.
Oh, that takes forever. Holy shit, Scout is it's just crazy. We need more attack speed. We need more attack speed. There is just... Shit. Shit. Not good, not good. Sensei is pathing. I am telling you. You think it looks stupid? It is stupid, guys. You're spamming 2 fucking abilities. Oh shit, our mana. No. Oh, guys, we messed it up. No. This was a good block. Important block. Our mana, we forgot mana. Shit, guys, what are we doing? Nah, this cooldowns look decent. Not perfect. What? I blocked, come on! No guys, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. We lost our skill damage boost. Really want to block those. Oh shit. No! I missed with 11%! I fucking suck it! Sensei, tell me, how much do you have? 12! Oh, I have 11! Ah. Oh my goodness.